Ironically, this story feeds into one that was sent in to us by a fan who goes by the name Shooting for Fun, which I like to do also.
Yes.
He's a proud supporter, loves the stories people send in, so he wants to share one of his. Pop, your channel was shared to me by a friend as he was going through, guess what? Divorce. Listening to your channel while I'm at work makes my days go by faster. Thanks for your advice and the humor. I wanted to share a story of my first serious girlfriend just out of high school. Sorry for the long story, but I figured you would like it. I wish I could have listened to you back then. You could have probably helped me back then. At the age of 21, almost 22, girlfriend was 19. We started dating when I was 18 and she was 16. Her parents were cool with it because I fixed their vehicles, her dad's fishing boat, and things around the house for them. She made it perfectly clear with me and her parents she wasn't going to have sex until marriage. That didn't last long after we started dating. Shocker. I was also her first boyfriend, and she was my first serious girlfriend. She was thin, beautiful, way better than I figured I could ever do. Well, that's because you're dick thinking.
Yeah.
We were one of those couples people would look at and be like, how'd he get her? She was on the swim team, gymnastics team, volleyball team in high school. While we were together, her grandma said to me several times, if you want to know what she'll look like when she's older, look at her mom. I remember thinking to myself, holy crap, I hope she looks as good as her mom when she's older. Her mom was also a swimmer and played volleyball. My ex graduated high school and was on summer break planning on starting college locally that fall. We were constantly texting and calling each other during the day while I was working my full-time job. All that young puppy love BS. When I texted her, she would reply almost instantly. Then one day, all of a sudden, it would take her longer and longer to reply. I started getting suspicious after a few weeks because she worked evenings, and so I knew she wasn't doing anything during the day. Oh, yeah, she was. And her phone was always in her hand. I started to notice that during the same time, cha-ching.
It's like being in kindergarten with Pop.
A little bit too much this. Leads to a little bit of this. And then once you're done with that, it's there you go. Anyway, I started to notice that during the same time, my best friend wasn't responding to texts either. And he was, cha-ching, home from college for the summer, so he wasn't working during the day. One day I was hanging out with my best friend, and he asked me to look at his phone because it was acting up. As I'm working on it, he gets a phone call from some generic name. I answered the phone and instantly recognized the voice. It was my girlfriend. Freaked out and pissed, I hung up without saying a word. I told him I had to go home and made some excuse. Otherwise, I bet I would have started beating his ass. Yeah, because he's not your friend at that point.
No, he's not.
He's your enemy.
He never was your friend, actually.
No. After I left, I called my girlfriend since we were going to meet up, and then I head to her house. At her house, while watching TV, I confronted her about calling my best friend, and she said she didn't know what I was talking about. Then she gave me... stop me if this has ever happened to you when you're on the cusp of catching somebody with their hand in the cookie jar. The best BJ she ever gave me. We continued dating for a while longer, having sex more than ever, multiple times a day. Then
can we just point out that was the TSN turning point right there? Should have kicked her to the curb.
Exactly.
Right there. I mean, after the Hummer. But it's just like, yeah.
You got to get the head bob. I'll talk with the head bob.
When you're young and dick thinking, it doesn't take much to distract you.
Just to point out, ding, there it was. Okay.
Who doesn't like one of those? I mean, it's like, I know. I'll take it. I don't like you that much, but thank you.
Watching a little Breaking Bad. Oh, hey, how you doing?
It's the best if you can actually be eating something at the same time. It's the best. Hey,
beer in one hand, a sandwich in the other, and a head in your lap.
It's like those COVID checks. I'm just not going to turn it down.
All right. I'll give you an extra $5 if you can say Trump bucks with it still in your mouth.
God damn.
So panel's on fire tonight. Fire.
All right.
Sorry. Okay.
I feel so dirty. Then it just stopped. She got really distant, taking forever to respond again. So one day after a couple of weeks, I called in sick to work and drove over to my best friend's house. When I drove by, her car was in the driveway. I confronted her later that day, and she told me that we were over because I don't trust her. Well, no shit, Sherlock. At the same time that was going on between her and I, we found out her parents were going through a divorce. That'll do it right there. Her mom was also in the process of moving out into a house that she purchased, probably with her dad's money. Her mom had asked me to help her move since I had a big pickup truck. I said I would. Sucker. When it came time to help her move and she called me, I was too depressed to answer the phone. I was lying in bed with my handgun next to me drinking. My ex's mom kept calling me, asking me to come and help, and I finally decided to answer the phone. She could tell I was drunk, so she told me to come get some rest. After we got off the phone, I laid there in bed holding the gun to my head, trying to get myself to pull the trigger, but could never get myself to actually pull it. Over the next couple of weeks, I contemplated self-deletion multiple times and even tried several times. When I couldn't successfully delete myself, I decided to try joining the military, but I was denied because of multiple physical and medical conditions. This only made me want to self-delete even more. Trying so many different things and being unsuccessful, I decided to go to the bar and get really drunk, hoping that if I drove home that I'd get into an accident and I would complete what I was trying to do.
Oh, man.
Well, you know what they say, if at first you don't succeed.
I haven't seen that before.
It brings to mind something that I say is no problem is so bad that you can't make it worse.
There you go. Yeah. While at the bar playing pool with random people and doing random shots, I had someone come over and tell me that I need to slow down. It was my ex's mom. When the bar close came around, I tried walking to my truck and almost fell over. So her mom was like, "Hey, you can't drive. I'll drive you home." Well, she was driving home. I was about ready to pass out in the passenger seat. Next thing I know, I feel her hand on my thigh, and she's telling me to stay awake.
Mrs. Robinson, right on.
So I stayed still. Her hand going up my thigh until she grabbed me. I was like, hi. We started getting close to her driveway, and she drove past to see if her daughter's vehicle was home, and it was not. So she turned around and pulled into the driveway. We made our way into the house and had a good time. As we're laying in her bed, we hear the garage door open and could hear people walking down the hallway past the bedroom we were in. A little while later, we hear my ex, her daughter, having sex trying to be quiet. We're both still naked at this point, and her mom climbs on top of me and starts riding me, and she was not trying to be quiet at all. From the other room, we hear everything stop, and we hear stomping down the hall, pounding on the door and screaming, "Can you be quiet?" Her mom
or we heard, "Cootie juices on my dishes!"
Her mom and I finished, and we all went to bed. My ex started dating a guy, not my best friend, and then another guy. At one point, she's dating 3 different guys at once. 17 years later, I found out that my ex has been married and divorced 3 times and is married to her 4th husband and has 5 kids, all different dads.
Oh, wow.
She now doesn't look like her mom, and she's about 3 times the size she was when we were younger. Her mom has been divorced twice and is on her 3rd marriage. I no longer want life to end and decided to start having fun. I'm glad that I was never successful in self-deletion. Unfortunately, I've been single for about 8 years, never married and no kids, and even if I try, I cannot pick up any girls. But I'm happy with life and having fun. I've shared your channel with a couple of friends I know going through hard times, and it has helped them. Thank you for all that you do, and keep it up.
All right. Now, first of all, I love hearing stories about what happens to a lot of these women years later.
I mean, there's no better revenge. Well, I mean, the best revenge is living well, but I think second place would be fucking her mom.
It's up there.
You can see like the females in there. There's like some health. There's some mental dynamics not there.
Did you ever see the?
Of course. Just at my age, it's more like fucking her daughter. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, that too. Yeah. Did you ever see? You know the director who made Jurassic World, Colin Trevorrow. His first student film it went viral online. It was called Home Base, and it's about a dude who finds out that his girlfriend is cheating. She basically confesses it to him and breaks up with him. And he's like, well, actually, this whole thing makes things clearer because now I know exactly what I have to do. Oh, yeah, what's that? I'm going to fuck your mom. And that's literally the plot. And it's hilarious.
I think I've seen that.
I've actually used clips from it on the show.
Home base.
Yeah, the dude who's fisting the mailbox and going, "Oh yeah." That's probably about right.
It's even worse today because like women aren't getting married until they're like in their late 20s, early 30s. That's for the first time. And then usually the marriages fail between 5 and 7 years. The woman has already hit the wall and she thinks she's going to get back out there, and there's going to be it's just going to be a free fall cock rodeo, and which she could probably do, but none of them want to keep that woman around.
No.
Not on a permanent basis.
Yeah, once they're done with this, they're gone.
That's right. And I'm not trying to be mean here. I'm just telling you the deal.
It's true.
These women have a very finite window to secure that dude that they can actually, spend the rest of their life with. And yeah, listen, you're going to get sick of each other. That's just human nature. You can only listen to somebody fart so many times before you're like, hey, knock that shit off, god damn it.
And they've done this to they've made it even worse on themselves, because these women used to get married right out of high school. So if they checked out at the 7-year itch, they were still at their peak attractiveness at around 25, 26. Now they're not getting married until 30. And so when that first marriage ends at around 37, they think they're going to go back to being 27. It's not how it works.
No. The game is over.
Yeah.
And all that's left is pickup games, and nobody bets or cares about those.
There's a reason binge drinking numbers among women have doubled in less than a decade. And this is why.
Mm-hmm.
And just, I'd like to point out, so first of all, I'm glad this guy's still with us. So
yes,
good for you. And then, like, it just goes to, it's one thing to see what they're doing, like everything we're just talking about, of course, the craziness of society and what's happening. But it doesn't matter, because when it comes down to it, you have to have your own mental point of origin. Do what you need to do for yourself, for your life, and then strictly enforce your boundaries. Yes. So if she's going to do something and you don't like it, you don't have to get mad at her. You don't have to give her ultimatums. No, you just go do what you do. And boys, you guys got to take care of this shit. Get your mental point of origin sorted out, and then enforce your boundaries. And then none of this stuff touches you. So good on you, buddy, for eventually getting there.
Yeah. So what he's trying to explain is be on your frame.
Yeah, be on your frame, and don't give in to blame and shame.
No.
Stay in your frame, no blame and shame.
That's right.
All right? Because a man who tries to enforce healthy boundaries is going to get called toxic and controlling, and they do that specifically because they want to be able to tear down all your boundaries and keep theirs in place. Don't let them do that. That's not
exactly right.
I wish I had all this information when I was in my early 20s.
Yeah, me too. But I was too busy thinking with the thing on the other side of my ass. There you go. It was kind of leading me around. It's like a divining rod looking for wet spots.
The heat-seeking moisture missile.
Yes. Or meat-seeking moisture missile.
Yeah.
Just a nice pie. And you know what? Sometimes, failing that, there's always warm apple pie, right? It's disgusting. But, man,
that movie's old now, man. Like, old.
I'm just saying, like, especially when we're on the young side, if it's been a while since you've gotten a crack at the hot pocket, men do some weird shit.
It's called a slump buster.
Slump busting.
Well, not even that. Like the fact that they literally have like a pocket poon that will plug directly into the wall socket. That sounds like a great idea. And people buy these things. Like, yeah, I'm going to stick my junk that squirts a liquid into something that's plugged directly into the wall. What could go wrong?
About as stupid as a glory hole.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because you have no idea what's on the other end. It could be a toothless goddamn goat.
Yeah.
And
end of a pocket pussy, 10,000 volts.
No, thank you.
And a good friend once told me too, when you're in a bar with a stripper, don't stick your tongue out in case she manages to stick some acid on.
Stop it!
There's all kind of crazy shit's gonna happen next.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporters Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.